Okay, come on in. This is the showroom. Just have a look around. So we took traditional terracotta tiles and we glazed them. And the incredible thing is that we use just one type of glaze. But because the terracotta is so dirty and there's so many probably oxide inside, it turns out to be completely different. And we have a lot of dinnerware. Those pieces are bathroom accessories, but yeah, we do also some lighting, and we have also some wall decorations, decorative pieces. We basically started doing ceramic, me and Mickey, back in 95, about 94, 95 in Italy. Mickey, I have a degree in economy and politics, and
I'm canonic one. Ceramic, art, sculpture means I go from the artistic side of the story.
but then we set up a little pottery studio in Piacenza, it's a small town, South Milan, about 50 kilometers south Milan. And we started doing ceramic. Mickey mainly sculptor, and I was doing ceramic unique pieces, and yes. It was not an easy period, but was really fun for us. I mean, it was me and Mickey in this little house in the countryside. It was nice. And then after a few years we started doing some classes also, and in 2000 and 2001 we decided to create a ceramic collection and present the ceramic collection in an exhibition in Milan, the Salone del Mobile in Milan. Luckily in 2001 we met an Italian entrepreneur, and he helped us to start a ceramic studio here. So we say,
why not?
Yeah,
yes.
let's try. So nothing wrong with that. So we arrived in Bali in 2001. So it's almost 20 years we are in Bali. When we first arrived, there was nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, it was very hard, especially the moment of try to find material, setting, everything, because there are no tradition, no ceramic tradition. Mainly for the kind of job that we would like to develop, there was not any materials, means the big effort it was, especially the beginning, to try to
source for clay, for glaze, so for equipment. Right. So there was no, so it's not that you can just pick up the phone and call a supplier, I want a ton of clay, I need a kiln, I need some wheels. And so we had to look around and go to Java, find bricks, build a kiln. So it was really difficult but fun. I mean, we were, and we are still driven by passion. So that's what we like to do. And back then it was
if
hard,
we rethink about this moment, of course, very hard. Recruiting, I remember Marcello recruiting people in the petrol station or on the beach.
What do you do? I carve the wood. Okay, come.
Yeah, I still remember my assistant.
Okay,
my assistant, Rizma, that she's with us since 16, 17 years now, and he was recruited on the beach.
Yeah, so yeah, at the beginning was a little bit naive, but slowly we start building, we built a stronger organization, and we start having our first client, and we figured out that there was a niche in the market, that it was the hospitality. I mean, especially here in Bali, there's a lot of hotels, a lot of restaurants, and all these guys, they start needing, they needed something special for them, and so we started doing our first collection for our first restaurant, and then an hotel, and then another restaurant, and then another hotel, and then we started growing. And
the idea it was to keep a little studio as a pottery studio, the one that we had in Italy before,
but
just in a larger scale.
So at the moment, this is the very beginning. We try to source material locally as much as possible. I would say 60–70% of our raw material comes from Indonesia, but still we have about 30% like Molokai here that comes from abroad. So in here below we have 3 ball mills. Maybe I can show you. We have ball mills that are milling finally all our noodles. Then all the material is pumped in these big blenders. And then all the slurry is pumped up to these big tanks and mixed in a specific recipe. Then the slurry is filter pressed. We squeeze the water out, and within the plate we get cake of clay, like this one. Then the cake are again packed, and we get the clay ready for production. And here we have a little lab where we do all our glazes. So we test them singularly, and every time we make a new batch, we have to retest everything. So as you can see here, we have, a few glazes, and these are just the glazes that we use regularly and are all tested and archived. In the last 20 years, we probably archived more than probably 2,000 different glaze colors and finishing, and maybe more than 20,000 different designs. So we are passing first through a finishing area and hand building decor area. Come. In this place we make all the hand carving, we attach handles, we make teapots. At the moment we are carving out this plate from a round shape. We do everything by hand. We don't have any single mold in this studio. The only mold we have and we use is the screw, because when we have pump bottle, we use this little screw, which is a little mold. And now we enter in the main forming area where we have throwers. This is our main production studio, and it's a big tent. It looks like being in a circus, but it's very nice because when it's sunny, like today, we don't even need lights. So the tent is translucent, so it's a little bit yellowish, but you don't have shadows. So working 3D models, it's good, not having a lot of shadows. Everyone in the studio has been trained internally. Before, at the beginning, it was me teaching them how to throw, and now it's we have an internal training program, more like a mentorship program, where the senior teach the junior. Every senior has a junior that helps in wedging, helps at the beginning in the basic, and then slowly they become proficient also in throwing and trimming. Yeah, we mainly custom create collection based on clients' functional and aesthetic needs. So it's not a standard collection. One collection maybe lasts for one order. So, and then we have to start again with new design, and we have to learn from the beginning. So the archiving is very important for us. And yeah, it's throwing, it's trimming, it's drying, and it's firing, it's glazing and firing again. So it's very standard as a ceramic process. So the pieces has been shaped, has been trimmed, and now they are dried and we fire them. So we have this train in the middle
that serves two kilns. Yeah, a big one there and a medium one here. This car moved to the train, and the other cars move to the trains and goes in station. So we are gonna pull out the bisque that is now in the kiln, goes in the trains move, the car goes in the station, the train move back, and the new car goes in. Here all the guys are glazing. We use any kind of glazing technique. Now we are dipping cups, and but we spray, we paint, we brush, we use all variety of decorations. In this crowded space, we have a few glaze buckets. So those are the glaze that we normally use in our production. Yes, they have all codification, all archived, so every time we need one, we can find it. In the back here we have other kilns. We have also a raku station, where it's a little bit open air, where we do all our raku firing. Maybe we can go and check it out. And this is our raku kiln, very basic, but it's very, very practical, because if we have to fire something taller, or we just add layer of bricks, and so it becomes bigger and bigger, or I would say taller and taller, not bigger. But it's very practical. You don't have to dig out hot pieces from a barrel, but you just walk around it and you can easily manage all the hot pieces around it. So as you may already understand, it's not a really small pottery studio. It is a pottery studio, a bit enlarged. So because we have about 100 people working with us, we have to take care of all the planning. So everybody needs to know exactly what he has to do. And luckily we have a group of guys that are counting every day, every single piece, and checking the one that are broken, we have to redo, and yeah. And this is another little studio we use for precious metal. So this is for lusters and for gold, which is actual 22 karat gold, platinum, copper, and all the third fire process, which is a little bit different and need different media, cleaner environment. Lusters are applied on top of a glazed pot. So lusters are not applied after the bisque, are applied after the glaze. So here we have all glazed items, so basically finish pieces. And on top of a finished piece, like this plate for example, we apply, in this case, a copper rib. So the process is, the production studio is almost finished in terms of layout, and now we are entering in our QC, quality control and storage room. So on the shelf here, if you can see, we have the stock of our own collection and the stock of the custom collection we do for our client. And in this little area, we quality control all the pieces. So it's a very much a visual and tactile quality control, and we are very much picky. Now we are going on a different level. Actually, it's physically a second floor. So this is the tent. Looks again like a circus. And it has been a nice combination, because when we first arrived here in 2001, our partner, the guy who invited us here in Bali, had a friend who produced this tent And then he met an Austrian architect who had the idea of building a space using a fan. So they joined the forces and they first constructed the main production space, and then slowly we enlarge and we build offices and we build other spaces. And this little studio up here, it's our research and development studio. And in this little studio we make just prototype. So Mickey now at the moment is probably doing just textures. So welcome to our creative and technical office. This is the place where we do all technical drawing of the design we have to do. And in addition to that, we also create visual presentation for the client, because when we are asked to develop a new custom project, we have to make the client understand what we would like to design for them. So we do sketches, we collect images from the web as a mood board, as a mood reference, and then we create this visual presentation for the client. If the clients like our visual presentation, we then make the prototype, we revise the prototype if they are not perfect, and when we have master sample approved, then we go in production. So what you see on the table here are all designs and collections that are not yet approved, and they are still in revision. And as soon the master sample is done, everything is archived in a special archive room, which I'm gonna show you right now. So here we are. This is just a part of our archive. The shelves are filled with master sample. Every shelf, it's one client and one collection. And here we just have maybe the most recent collection we have done, maybe the last 5 years collections. And again, we don't have a specific style or design we follow, but every time we have a new custom collection, we are challenged to make something different, both in term of design and in term of technique. That's why we are using a lot of diverse clay, diverse firing atmosphere, diverse type of glazing. We meet again with our client and we define with them what are the guidelines of their collections.
Normally client, we are so lucky that they travel to Bali and they approach the studio. And I have my personal studio in the archive. That is where we keep all our successful items that they have been approved and produced at least once, and all our failure, right? Because ceramic is like this. Sometimes is watching a defect, you can discover things. There is a beautiful story that says if you are a very good potter, you are able to reproduce a mistake. The company has a group of people that is dedicated to make just prototype, and the life of prototype and the tract of that is a very long journey, right? Because we are good, but not always so good. Means from a sketch and combination of material, you realize the first prototype. And then sometimes is what you expect, or it can be improved. Means you're gonna do the second prototype until when we technically and client aesthetically is pleased, and this it became a red mark. The red mark, it means that is approved. The record and the archive and the document that they are beyond each little creation is massive. And we have all the sketches that we have done in 20 years. And we have all the meeting record that we have done in 20 years. And this, I think, is really the value of the company itself.
So I would say that this story involves not a little bit of serendipity and chance. And the first was in my meeting of Marcello and Michela. I had come to Bali in 2008 without knowing they existed at all, even though they were already 7 years running and very well established at that point. But I was introduced to them via a friend of a friend as a ceramic artist already, and it was really a door opening that I hadn't seen coming at all. And over that first year of my time in Bali, which was really dedicated to be just a year, the three of us sat and brainstormed and got to know one another and really started thinking about an educational branch of the company and what that would mean. What shape did each of us want it to take? What did we feel like we wanted it to look like of all the experiences we'd had elsewhere in the world? For myself as an artist and an educator and a world traveler, I felt like creating a studio that would really target an international audience was both interesting and practical, since there really was zero on the ground community of interested ceramic artists at that moment in time. And initial project that basically I said, yes, I will run this project, I will launch this studio if I can build a wood kiln. So bringing with me my own interest in wood firing was part and parcel to establishing this studio. In setting out to build our own studio space, apart from the production studio we were building from the ground up, which meant we had infinite possibilities of what we wanted to create architecturally. And what we ultimately settled on is a combination of old traditional Indonesian architecture, specifically a building style called a joglo from Yogyakarta, which is actually all old hewn wood that is post and beam, so it can actually be entirely disassembled and reassembled in a different location. And part of the interest in making this selection was that if you look closely at the walls and the posts and the beams, you can actually see the hand-wrought work of the craftsmen who built this place. So we felt like we're building a structure that has its own kind of creative integrity or energy within it. And another part of what we made decisions about is that we did not include walls. And this was in favor of really allowing the experience of everything that it means to live in Bali to enter into the picture for people coming here, especially people coming from far afield. So our lush gardens abound in every crevice that is open to sunlight, and wind and sometimes even rain rush in. So it's one of our challenges as well as one of our delights. And so in creating this space, we have created an open air setting with ample square footage. We have plenty of throwing wheels to accommodate a large classroom style setting for a throwing concentration. We have all kinds of hand building tables. We have private studios that we either rent to individuals or we house resident artists in. And we also have a mezzanine level where we host workshop lunches. One of the very first projects for this studio space was the building of our Japanese-style anagama. So this was led by a dear friend, Gian Wall from Australia. And like many things, sourcing the correct style of brick or certain materials was hard to do. And because of that, the anagama project, like so many of our projects here, was literally from scratch. So we set about hand building about 900 bricks And those bricks were air dried and laid green when we were building the kiln. And so the kiln building was run as one of our first workshops in this space. And so participants came from all over to help in that experience. We also built a top hat raku kiln, which we use very frequently. And in the years that followed, we also built a catenary arch soda kiln. And this was also a kiln that we decided we would build our own bricks, kind of out of our attitude, as well as lack of perhaps the exact correct style of arch bricks and such. And this time we bisque fired the handmade brick first before laying them into the catenary arch form. We also have 2 fiber gas kilns that are kind of our workhorses to do all our bisque firing and our oxidation or reduction glaze firing. So all in all, the studio, I would say, is very well equipped with a lot of options. And I think this is also an attraction for instructors as well as resident artists who are interested in coming our way, is that we try to make feasible the possibility of approaching almost anything in clay. At the heart of what Marcello, Michaela, and I felt really cohesive about in our vision of where this studio would take us, I think, was focusing on really a high level of education. So not meaning that we wanted to attract people who already had robust experiences to come learn at an extremely high level, but that there would be a manner of seriousness or dedication to their experience. The fact that each of us, our background is, totally founded in a passion for making ourselves, and it's something that we each practice. And so, continuing your own practice equals being able to teach at that level. And then appreciating that from others coming in. So if we have the most outstanding sculptor or something like that, that person's here with us for a short time, but they're bringing that presence and also that energy, that inspiration.
Totally.
Not only to the students or the participants in the workshop,
but to us as well.
And
but it's also we give back also to these masters that are coming here to teach or for a residency, because our books are open. And so they can experience, an educational studio with nice setups and everything. They can experience the island of Bali and getting all this inspiration from. But they can also experience the whole production flow, materials, clay, all the research in all this cabinet. There are thousands of glazes and recipe and all these things. So in formulating that and reflecting on several of the places that each of us had experiences participating in or teaching at from elsewhere in the world, we developed a workshop program. And so really from the very beginning, we've been running 2-week-long workshops, and we've been reaching out across the world to attract the best and most inspiring artists in every dimension of ceramics to come as instructors. And likewise, our group of participants are coming from really far-flung edges of the world and coming with all different levels of experience to study with these instructors that we've invited. We have a very small team over here as opposed to the production studio. We only have about 6 staff working for the studio. But we realized there were a lot of people, young ceramic artists, really interested in helping out and experiencing living this life of clay. And so that's when we founded our studio internship program. And that is, at this point, it's a 6-month relationship. And we have interns coming who dedicate about half their time to
assisting in the studio, and the other half of their time they have the experience of utilizing our clays, of learning from the instructors who come through, and exploring their own development as ceramic artists. And that, I think, has been extraordinarily fulfilling for both interns that have come our way as well as for us in building these incredible friendships that feel like family and stretch across the whole globe.
Since my first introduction to GAYA was through the Artist in Residency program, I can speak directly to how very impactful it is to an artist, to their work, and to their life overall. GAYA creates an incredibly supportive studio environment, one in which an artist in residence can feel free to dig deep into some particular area of research or explore broadly a variety of ideas and challenges without being constrained by having to pay for their studio, their clay, or their firings. Now, in the larger context, Bali as a location and all that it encompasses truly enlivens the senses of an artist. In turn, each artist in residence, by virtue of their character, background, approach to clay, creative philosophy, techniques, they engage with and contribute to our community of local clay enthusiasts and makers in a way that can't be duplicated, that's invaluable to the studio.
We have created a small gallery that we refer to as an art space. And this is really an intimate location where we get to showcase some of the incredible works that resident artists over the years have left with us. So everything that is displayed in the gallery is created here in Bali, perhaps by someone who came from afar, perhaps by one of us who teaches or works here. And I would say that as an art space, we are focusing on showcasing works that are singular and unique and really in some specific way describing the outlook of the maker. So as opposed to works that were created by many hands, these works are created by individuals. So the ethos behind this studio is really a space that offers a place to be nurtured in creativity, in exploration, in finding perhaps a brand new route in one's life. And I feel like what drives all of that is my own passion for making, my own creative drive, and that of my colleagues who are part of this picture.